Okay, our second example is going to be using the side angle side, or SAS postulate. So in the video, he shows a triangle and he's setting up the legs. And if you say this leg is congruent, this angle is congruent, and this leg is congruent to this, and made a 90-degree angle, then because of if those had to be set and those angles had to be the same, how you would have to set up your hypotenuse or your other leg or your other side connecting the triangle would have to be congruent because of that angle. You can't adjust it. So the measurement over here is going to be the same, and therefore the angles are going to be the same. So saying you could say that triangles are congruent if you can prove that two sides are congruent and then the angle in between those two sides. Okay, so here we have our figure, our given, and what to prove. So our figure's here. Our given is that H is the midpoint of line DF and line GE. And we need to prove that DGH, so triangle DGH, is congruent to triangle FEH. Okay, so if H is the midpoint of D and F, we know that then this and this is congruent. And if it's the midpoint between on GE, then that means this part and that part are congruent to one another. Okay. So it's looking like we've already shown two sides, and we need an angle. Which angle do you think that's going to be? Right here, that we're going to need to show. So with the figure, as you kind of label it, you can go ahead and see what you have and maybe what you need to be looking for. Okay, so let's start with our first given. H is the midpoint of DF and GE. So like I said, we have to submit it to evidence. You can't just say, well, it's up there. You have to write it down here. Present it to the jury. So H is the midpoint of DF and GE. And the reason is that is given. Okay, so by stating that that's the midpoint, then I can next say that DH is congruent to FH. So line segment DH is congruent to line segment FH. That is proving a side. And I can say that is true because H is the midpoint of DF. Okay, next, he actually jumps to the angle, so we can look at that. So what can we say about these two angles? What is the relationship there? How can we establish their congruency? So they are actually vertical angles. And when labeling them, we want to start DHG. So angle DHG. We can't just say angle H because which way is it? So we need to use 3 points to establish the whole angle. So DHG is congruent to angle FHE. That would give us our angle. And the reason we can say that is vertical angles are congruent. Okay, so our other side, we can say that GH is congruent to EH. So line segment GH is congruent to line segment EH, which is our other side. And the reason is because H is the midpoint of GE. So making those equal. So now we've established our sides are congruent, the angle is congruent because it's a vertical angle, or vertical angles, and then the other side is congruent. So we have established that triangle DGH is congruent to triangle, not have that up there, FEH. And that is through our side angle side postulate. Okay, so that shows all of that one. So I'm going to continue to do a few more examples on the next video, just to break it up so I can get these all uploaded. And I'm going to do them through 24A and go through those 4 different ones. And then you'll be able to do some more for your homework. So don't get discouraged or be too overwhelmed. This is brand new. Thankfully, the book actually gives you what you need to establish. You just have to look for it. So it's definitely a good way to ease into it.